All right, now let's talk about the big myth. I need the perfect credit score to buy a house in Arizona. Not true. If you think you need 700 or more to buy a house here in Arizona, you have been lied to, let me tell you right now. I hear that a lot, that you need really good credit. I actually talked to somebody that they said they're waiting to get a better score to be able to qualify for a home, and they were at a 640. In reality, you can qualify for an FHA loan at a 640 if everything else is right. So that's just a misconception that we have. Obviously, the better your score, the better options that you have, better loan products. I mean, there's no lie there. But at the end of the day, you want to really get a professional consultation with a mortgage broker like myself, to see where you're at and not just kind of go based what you hear, which you might hear with good intentions, whoever tells you. But at the end of the day, you want to get professional guidance, right? When you're thinking about buying your home, you know what I mean? Now, FHA loans minimum 580. That's what you need. There's a little more roadblocks if your score is around 580. They might ask for some reserves. At that point, you're not eligible for down payment assistance. For that, you need a little bit of a higher score. But I've helped clients with 3.5% down, where they 586, 590, just above 580, and they qualified for the home. So it starts opening doors at about 580. There's even a program right now that I have, potentially I could offer to clients where minimum is 550 FICO, but you need 10% down, right? So that's another little roadblock because your credit is not that great. But the better your score, the better options that you have available to you, right? FHA is very forgiving. They are very forgiving, so you don't really need a credit score at all for FHA. You just want to make sure you run AUS, which is automated underwriting system, what we call, to see if you qualify for an FHA loan. Now, conventional loans minimum 620. Best pricing usually I would say about 680, between 680 maybe 670 at least. But you can still buy below 700, right? Just different terms. The higher your score, the better on conventional loans. And sometimes it makes more sense to do a conventional loan than an FHA loan if your credit is really good, just depending on the scenario. VA loans, you typically want to aim around 580 as a minimum. Um, Compensating factors matter a lot there. And again, sometimes I have a lot of VA clients that they have that misconception that they need a better score, this and that, and it's sometimes a lot easier to get them into a home than they think of. They think it's a lot harder. I don't know why they don't really break down the benefit of being able to take advantage of a VA loan. I've had a couple clients last year where I got them into a house and they used their VA benefit and they thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was, right? They thanked me. They're like, you made it seem very simple, and that's what it's all about. That's really what it's all about. But most buyers that I closed in Arizona, I would say maybe half and half, or either 70 plus or below. So it just really depends on your situation and where you're at, and that's why it's so important to schedule that buyer consultation. Um, Now the biggest myth is that score is not the most important thing, right? So your credit score is just the symptom. That's the way I see it. It's not the full diagnosis, right? So what matters more than the number a lot of times is payment history, DTI. You can have an amazing credit score. Your credit score can be 780, you know, but your DTI is through the roof because maybe you have an eraser, a truck, you have a mortgage you co-signed on not too long ago and it's still hitting your DTI, whatever it might be. There's a lot of things that go into the credit score. So you don't want to just sit there and wait. My point is that you don't want to just sit there and wait and say, well, I'm going to work on my score. Then a year passes by, and then you're kind of in the same situation where your score only went up 15, 20 points. You didn't really do much. At that point, again, you you're better off scheduling a consultation. I get you to a credit professional, right? We work with a few credit professionals here that can help you get your score to where you want it to be in a shorter time frame. Take care of things, delete things off your credit, dispute things. They do it all to make sure you get your score to where you want it to be, and it's really not that expensive compared to other options that I've seen. So that's something to think about. You don't want to just leave it to, oh, I'm going to work on my score and I'm going to see where I'm at in 6 months to a year. You're better off just getting that professional help and getting your score up as soon as possible, or based on your timeline to buy. You know what I mean? Now, what I'm looking at here, I was looking at some products where down payment assistance down to 600 credit score. That's for clients that are looking for help with their down payment. But a lot of the times they don't tell you that if your score's 600, 620 maybe, you might get pre-qualified or approved through the system, but it might ask you for 2 months of reserves. Now, what are reserves? So let's say your mortgage payment is $2,500. Well, that's one payment. 1 month of reserves is $2,500. If you need 2 months, you need $5,000 in the bank. I see a lot of times these clients get put into these stress situations where they get promised down payment assistance or they get offered down payment assistance. They get pre-qualified, they're out there shopping, they go under contract, and then they need 2 months of reserves, right? And they only have less than a month in the bank account, and it's stressful for everybody in that situation, because it's something that could have been avoided if things would have been done correctly from the beginning. And again, you just want to make sure you run the system, the underwriting system, to make sure that the client is fully aware if they are looking for down payment assistance. Do you need any reserves, right? Do you need to have any money in your bank account to be able to get down payment assistance? And if you have it and if everything's great, perfect, no stress. But if you don't, then we might wait a little bit until you're ready. And those are things that sometimes are passed on or they're not looked upon by other lenders. But here at the GX4 mortgage team, we try to make sure that we do right by you as a client, right? So basically, you want to make sure, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it when you're talking about credit score. If I need to bring my credit score up, is my credit score good enough? What can I do to bring my score up? I have collections. I try disputing them, they don't come off. There's a lot of things that go into it, and that's why I always tell my clients the best thing you can do, schedule that buyer consultation. That way, you can ask me all the questions that you may have. We get them answered, and we find a plan and a solution for any issues that might arise. Right. Um, my job isn't really to judge your credit. My job is to just kind of get you to the fastest path to that approval that you're looking for. Sometimes that's by now, like I said, sometimes 30, 60, 90 days. But guessing is what keeps people or makes people lose years, right? That's really can't can't really there's no other way to say it. You don't want to just be guessing. So if you're in Arizona and if you're wondering where you stand, don't assume, get clarity. You can schedule a 10-minute consultation with me, and you know, might change your life. It really might change your life because rent is only going to go up, or even if it's not that expensive and it stays the same for you, if you compound it, let's say the next 10 years you're paying $2,000 a month, that's about 24,000 a year. In 10 years, that's about $240,000, and you're renting. So 2026 is here. Have that goal in mind, whether it's your property, an investment property, whether it's a multi-family unit, whether it's your second property, whether it's adding an ADU to your home, whatever it is, just try to make it into your goals of this year to start finding your path into more real estate, to making your portfolio bigger, or purchasing your first home. Just stop renting. Whatever your goal is, let's start working towards it this year. I'm here to help you out. Schedule your buyer consultation. That way you get your questions answered, like this myth of credit score. And I'm here for you guys. My phone number is 602 321 2470. And my email, christiang@bearfinancial.com. You guys can DM me. You guys can schedule on Calendly a call. You guys can apply on my link on my social media directly. However it is, send me a DM, message me, comment on the videos. I'm here to help you. 2026 is going to be a great year. And if you guys have any questions, any topics you want me to talk about, just let me know. Have a good one.